Hey there, Riverica here, reporting for duty on a trigger. Thank you so much for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit with me and steering clear of danger. Heartily, we are grateful. In this session, we are seeing what the full moon in Leo has to say to us this February 2023. And the full moon will be in Leo at around 1:28 Eastern Time on February 5th, 2023. And so that is super fun. And before we get into the reading, some disclaimers. I am not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. I'm a fortune teller. And what I offer is no substitute for their services. Furthermore, what I share does not determine your future. Only your intentions and your actions do. So please use your gift of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest back to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. And quadruple check what I say. Don't take my word for it. Don't let me tell you what to do, because that would be tyranny. Thank you. And let's see what else I want to share with you before we jump in. This reading is for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing your heart, mind, spirit, soul, and intuition. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none. And at the most, I hope I may assist you in your healing path, playing through the losses and traumas, adopting success, transmuting these violent cycles into love. And so let me introduce our helpers. I have lit candles for Source, Mother Earth, Father Sky, the homeless, those that kick them out of the homes, the neighbors, the passers-by, even those working against our spiritual progression. I have also lit candles for harmony, unity, and balance. The archangels of Saturday and Sunday, Archangel Cassiel and Archangel Michael. Our ancestors here in the highest love and light. YouTube. And all of those who have crossed over to Father Sky by suicide, and the families and friends they left behind on Mother Earth, as well as the war-torn families, nations, and galaxies. And we thank Source for helping us all adopt success, transmuting these violent cycles into love. Heartily, we are grateful. We also have my wooden dice, my wooden dagger wand, my other wooden wand, and maybe you've heard me mention how wood buoys your spirit, so it's wonderful to have around, and why so many of us feel so wonderful when we're in the trees surrounded by that nature. And we also have beautiful white beach stones in honor of the moon, the full moon. And we have a couple angels visiting us today, and this beautiful little cherub that's broken but still so lovely here helping us with our reading today. You know, like us, some of us are a little cracked, but we're still here. And this beautiful angel helping us today, gifted from a lovely who wishes to remain anonymous. And we have our Tibetan bell kit. And we have 6 decks. Deck number 1, deck number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And these are the Paragrams by Paramahansa Yogananda. Maybe some of you are familiar with the Self-Realization Fellowship and this beautiful little beach stone. And how could I forget my crystal ball, the big one we brought out today. And if we roll a 1 and are reading from the paragrams, I am restricted by copyright from transcribing those, but you can purchase your own at the Self-Realization Fellowship website, or maybe you visit their Mother Center at the end of Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. It's very close to the beach. It's super sweet. There's a beautiful pond to walk around with lovely flora and fauna and a memorial for Gandhi and some of Gandhi's ashes. Paramahansa and Gandhi were friends. So again, I invite you to procure your own set of paragrams if you wish. And we have the Tree Angel Oracle, The Ancient Path into the Sacred Grove by Fred Hageneeder and illustrated by An Heng. And here is the lovely beach stone accompanying that deck of cards, little one. And we have the third deck of cards is the Cosmic Dancer Oracle by Sedona Soulfire and Tess Whitehurst. And here is the beautiful beach stone for that. Lovely white stone. And we have the Cali Oracle by Alana Fairchild and illustrated by Jimmy Manton. I shall leave in the description all of these decks and their authors and illustrators, as well as these crystals and tools, just in case I'm saying any of them wrong in this recording. You can check that list in the description. And we have the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle by Lon. And here is the lovely stone, beach stone, accompanying that deck. Looks like a heart. And then we have the Living Altar, an oracle and spell deck for the Radical Witch by Kiki Robinson and Ilvadroma Marzana Radziszewski. One of the only Romani decks in circulation. I am thrilled to have all of these decks. And you can hang out with many of these people on Instagram or their websites or other social media. The Living Altar, Kiki and Ilva, have their own podcast, Altars Up Witches, that you may find. And so before we jump in, I invite you to sage with me to clear the space. I saged and meditated on your cards before we began, but since we are in it now, I'd like to do it again and invite you to hold the intention of seeing only love, and only love we shall see. Thank you. Oopsie. Thank you. And we are going to ring the bell and say a mantra from Thich Nhat Hanh. So if you are wearing headphones, I invite you to make adjustments now to keep your ears safe. Here we go. Mind, body, speech in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. My hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Om. Peace. Shanti. Thank you. So we're going to roll the dice. Thank you, Source and Spirit team, for guiding this reading in the highest love and light. And thank you, Moon, for sharing what you have to say. Full Moon and Leo, what you have to say, what you have to tell us about how to move forward, minding our business in the highest love and light. Heartily, we are grateful. We have number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the Kali Oracle. And Kali is associated with the Romani. But of course, if she sees that you need help and you are not Romani, she shall be happy to assist. And then when you are in a space to find some gods and goddesses that are part of your culture, you can join them. Maybe she leads you to them. And this deck of cards is by Alana Fairchild and Jimmy Manton, illustrated by Jimmy Manton. Let me check to make sure I'm saying that. Yes, Jimmy Manton. And that is the crystal we have for that. And the number 4, we can talk about that for a minute before we jump into the reading. The number 4, maybe you've heard me mention before, reminds me of a chair and how a chair has 4 legs on the floor that help it remain solid and grounded and stable. And so that is what number 4 offers us. And it also helps us remain solid and grounded and stable when others are pulling on us energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. So you may call on number 4 to help you in those situations and through these next couple days as the moon comes in and out, the full moon. And number 4, that numerology I am thankful to understand from Cindy Dale, so I will leave references for her in the description as well, and her wonderful series on subtle body energy, so you can refer to that yourself. And of course, I invite you to look up 4 or 5 or 6 different sources on your own for all of these things that we are sharing today, the stones, the wood, the brass, the angels, just so you can understand and tune in with yourself, flex your own intuition, because we are all different psychosociology experiments, and what resonates for one may not resonate with the other. So I invite you to have fun exploring what resonates for you, especially if you're an orphan or an adoptee and you've been accustomed to putting your needs aside for other people. You may find the practice helpful to flex your own intuition, your own heart, your own mind, your own soul, your own spirit. I know myself, for a time, I didn't know what my heart was because I was so overcome trying to be there for the others in my life, from birth families to adoptive families to friends, in order to fit in and belong. You know, that's one of our basic needs. And in order to fit in and belong, and I didn't know what made me happy. I didn't know what gave me joy. And so it became a mission of mine to find out. Around the turn of the century, I started playing my own cards. And I share that with others. And to learn more about that, there's some links in the description. A course that I have put together online about how to play your own cards and discover what makes you tick, what your heart is, what your heart says. Also honoring your losses and traumas and being able to see the other side and play through those losses and traumas, from crisis to survival to diaspora to thriving to pilgrimage to blessed dreams coming true. So yeah, it's super important to know what really drives you. And we all have been pressed over the past few years especially to discover what makes us happy and what makes us feel safe and sound. So let's see what this full moon in Leo has to say. You know, the full moons, they shed light on the situation and help us see what we need to release so grace can stream in. And so let's see what the Kali Oracle has to share with us. You are a whole, full, powerful, loving, spiritual being, and so am I. We thank your source and spirit team and angels, galaxy guides, ancestors here in the highest love and light, saints and sages, gods and goddesses, and universes here in the highest love and light, as well as mine. And we thank your source and my source for immediately shifting our situations into what they need to be, offering necessary insights, healings, acts of grace, and protection. Heartily, we are grateful. Thank you so much, Source, for guiding this reading in the highest love and light and letting us understand what the full moon in Leo has to tell us about how to move forward, minding our business in the highest love and light. Heartily, we are grateful. And Kelly says, cut the deck, cut the deck. So here, I shall cut the deck. Oopsie. Pardon me. And on the bottom, we have Chamunda. And that is number 31. And that number 3 is a number of optimism. It brings an end and a beginning together, a beginning and an end together, and ends chaos. It helps us, especially if we are susceptible to environmental invasions or psychic invasions. And that number 1 invokes the Creator, puts our needs to a conclusion, and puts ourselves first, and helps with these victim issues that caused our boundary problems. So that number 1 is super sweet. Chamunda. So we'll keep her out. And then on the top of the deck, we have Kali Tantrika. Whoopsie. So let me put that into a holder so you may see. And Kali Tantrika, Kalika Tantrika, number 35. We just spoke about the number 3, but that number 5 creates a space for decision making. I'm going to push that back a little so we can see the crystal. So 5 creates a space for decision making and promotes and progresses and helps us from becoming overburdened with other people's issues. It provides the ability to go any direction it will. So that is super sweet, especially when we're talking about a full moon in Leo, shedding light on things, thinking about what we are ready to release because we've grown out of it, and what we want to stream in, what grace we want to stream in, thanks to the moon and the universes and our guides and our ancestors here in the highest love and light. So let's see what 35 has to tell us. While I'm looking for that, I'm going to also say that I invite you to check out Leo and see what jumps out at you about Leo to add to this reading. So there's 3 parts to this reading. The middle part is rather extensive. The beginning is a sweet introduction, and the end is an invocation ritual. So I invite you to settle in as I start to read, and here we go. Kalika Tantrika, our wild mother goddess, overcomes duality, resting in the sweet spot of integration, healing, and creativity. She facilitates the overcoming of tension and conflict, birthing sacred solutions and evolution into greater bliss. Kalika Tantrika is Kali, the tantric queen. She overcomes all karma, realigns pathways when we have veered off course, reverses the momentum of negative uses of free will, and detaches draining energy cords, restoring us to full vitality. Her presence announces significant change and positive improvement in all aspects of your life, especially your spiritual life. That is a super sweet introduction, and that what's jumping out at me is how she reverses the momentum of negative uses of free will. And perhaps you've heard me speak about free will in some of the previous readings, but I wonder, is our will really free when we have so much loss and trauma? And maybe you've experienced it too, and you've noticed that loss and trauma has the potential to obstruct or stymie or prevent our free will from developing academically, culturally, linguistically, as we wish. And so that is one reason why it's so many of us find ourselves on the healing path, so we can break through that block. And maybe you've also heard me speak of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and looking at that pyramid, I invite you to look at that and check out 4 or 5 or 6 different representations of that hierarchy of needs, and maybe even come up with your own to understand about the basic needs, and also the need to know, or learning, or education. Those basic needs like food, shelter, love, belonging, they're at the bottom of the pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, where we're really stepping into our power. But that need to know, that education, like learning your math facts or your social studies facts, that's fairly far up the pyramid, which goes to show that if you don't have your basic needs met, it's super challenging for you to learn what you want to learn, what you need to learn, what you wish to learn, what you desire to learn in your highest love and light. And that's part of the reason why so many students get left behind, these losses and traumas that haven't been tended to, and the schools haven't been equipped to help students heal through their losses and traumas. And that piece getting left out prevents students from being able to access their lessons. Like, if you haven't eaten that day, or you don't have a home, or you're experiencing abuse and neglect, your math facts don't seem so important, And then what happens after you have achieved a level of healing and you've been able to address your loss and trauma, you might discover that those math facts come super easy to you, and those history lessons come super easy to you, and it's a whole different ball game. And so that's super exciting to understand that about free will, and how taking care of our loss and trauma instead of sweeping it under the carpet, like so many orphans and adoptees have been manipulated or forced or coerced to sweep their loss and trauma under the carpet because, oh, it was for the best that you were relinquished and giving up your heritage and giving up your family. That if you take the time to heal instead of sweep it under the carpet, that your life just blossoms and you start learning those things that you want, need, and desire to help you achieve your blessed dreams. So I shall leave some of those resources in the description as well, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so you can refer to yourself and come to your own conclusions. So the middle part, here we go. The Tantra of Kali is the teaching of the eminence of the goddess. Her appearance in a reading indicates a time when the feminine principle must be in the dominant position. This is not a declaration that the feminine is superior. It is equal to the masculine, yet different. It is a recognition that the feminine is holding and birthing energy. To shift from one way, paradigm, or political structure, the feminine must lead. As Kali, she disrupts negative power structures and holds the space for something completely new to emerge from the rubble. That again makes me think of the adoption fairy tales that so many of us have been dismantling and the new earth that we have been rebuilding. So interesting. The simplest way to describe the eminence of the goddess is that it's the deep respect for intuitive knowing and action taken on the non-rational, yet deeply insightful instincts of the heart. This is not about being emotionally reactive. There are multiple expressions of the sacred tantric inversion, placing the sacred feminine in the leadership position and deconstructing patriarchy. We practice it when listening to our intuition with complete courage, rather than going against our inner knowing for the sake of logic. It's making me think again of all the adoptees who have been told that the adoption is for the best, but it's really not. It's just different. And we've been coerced or forced or put in a position to go against our own inner knowing for the sake of that logic that wasn't even correct. And so Kali, this Kali Tantrika, is helping us with that, helping us tap in. Another is the reversing flow of what has been generated. This may mean halting a path you wanted to travel, but have now come to realize it is not honoring of your heart. It could be a breaking down of what has been established because it has become too restrictive and needs to be rebuilt in a new way, or perhaps released altogether. Remember, that which appealed to the caterpillar is not going to tempt the butterfly. As the soul evolves, our needs and desires often undergo a profound transformation too. And that is making me think of all the adoptees who have been in a position to cut ties and are out of the fog, and just the tremendous work that they have been doing, morphing from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Tantric teachings resonate less with clean, tidy, and methodical approaches, and more with wild, spontaneous, shamanic energies, innately tuned to and responsive to life. The primal force of the feminine is moving you along your soul journey at present. To tune into that primal power requires loosening the mental grip over your life. Allow for more space, more flexibility. If your schedule is so tightly wound that every minute is accounted for, set the intention to slacken the reins. The feminine needs freedom. She cannot be crammed into minimal spaces and expected to thrive. If you try to control her, she will rebel, and when she is Kali, her rebellions topple kingdoms. It is possible to heal and transform, even radically, without evoking her wrathful nature, if you are open to her guiding presence. Her wrath is love, so we need not fear it. But it can certainly be a welcome change of pace for powerful shifts to be able to happen with grace and ease. And that's making me think of just the moon that we're here for this reading, how Callie is helping us understand what the moon has to say. And when I began to walk away from the mainstream culture in 2009, I started tuning in to the moon calendar instead of the school calendar. And so I invite you to explore that for yourself, tuning in more to the moon calendar and seeing how you feel at the different phases of the moon and how that might help you let go of what you've outgrown and stream in grace to replace those lives that you want to live. When Kali Tantrika arises in your reading, you are encouraged to listen to your gut and allow for wisdom to emerge. Act according to instinct and let go of methods that do not resonate with your heart. Even if your mind tells you that you are not following these even if your mind tells you that not following those methods will lead to failure. The Tantra of Kali is the practice of unconditional trust in the feminine. Her ways are unpredictable, apparently ever-changing, and when she manifests as Kali, if you try to pin her down and control her, she's likely to lop off the offending appendage. Instead, we submit to her, entering into the black void of possibilities and not knowing, with the realization that even when we don't know what is going on, the divine feminine does. If we willingly open to her sacred knowledge, rather than try to impose our will and logic and desire upon her, she will show us what is going to work best. This is a time when the heart knowing must lead above the intellectual assessment of things. It is also when we are best moved by a greater guiding intelligence, rather than doggedly sticking to a plan and trying to assert ourselves. The feminine is not as direct in her approach as the masculine. Her seeds germinate in darkness. Her creative methods are not always seen, yet are powerful. The oracle brings encouragement that even though it seems like your will is being thwarted, or you are not getting what you want, in parentheses, right now, or you just wish you could have clarity and know your direction, you are still making progress. Things are coming together in the best way, and something is growing that is aligned with the divine plan you were born to fulfill. You are encouraged to restore your inner energies and move when you feel inspired, rather than thrusting forward in an attempt to make progress. The goddess knows what she's doing. Her actions will benefit you and all beings profoundly. Allow her to have her way. Wow. So that's super intense. And just a wonderful reminder of what it means to tap into your own heart and your own intuition, and so many orphans and adoptees learning what that means later in life, and being part of the dismantling of the adoption fairy tales and the old earth and rebuilding anew and everything that goes along with that. Like, we love our families, our birth families, maternal, paternal, adoptive, and even if we have to dance away and not understanding where is this going to go, like, we thought we were supposed to be with our family, and really this is what's going to happen, and the path hasn't always been clear, isn't always clear. And this Kali Tantrika is reminding us that the universe is there to hold us and support us, and each step will be shown, and that some things germinate in darkness, and to trust that, to really rest in that. So that's super sweet. So the invocation ritual, I shall repeat 4 times, but there is a little introduction and then a little ending. So you can prepare yourself for that. Here we go. Place your hands at your lower belly. Sense the energies that stir and swirl into life when you place your loving, non-judging attention beneath your hands. Allow your awareness to move deeply beneath your hands as if you are moving into a vast, oceanic realm of feminine being within your body, no matter what your biology or gender may be. You can settle and meditate within this feminine presence. Perhaps that presence is gentle ocean waves rising and falling in rhythmic lullaby, or a raging storm with flashes of lightning and shuddering thunder. Be with what is. Sense the grounding as your mental energies begin to descend into the belly and gather there, returning to the primordial and restorative ocean of consciousness deep within the sacral chakra. Say the following prayer. Jai Ma Kali, I drop into the realm of deep wisdom located in the belly. I feel for your guidance, for the innate pattern of intelligent spiritual becoming that exists within my soul and knows how to manifest itself to fulfillment for the benefit of all beings. I open to your blessings and let go of that which I have held onto more than I have trusted in you. Jai Ma Kali. And I'm going to read that 3 more times. Jai Ma Kali. I drop into the realm of deep wisdom located in the belly. I feel for your guidance, for the innate pattern of intelligent spiritual becoming that exists within my soul and knows how to manifest itself to the fulfillment for the benefit of all beings. I open to your blessings. I let go of that which I have held onto more than I have trusted in you. Jai Ma Kali. I'm going to read that 2 more times. Jai Ma Kali. I drop into the realm of deep wisdom located in the belly. I feel for your guidance, for the innate pattern of intelligent spiritual becoming that exists within my soul and knows how to manifest itself to fulfillment for the benefit of all beings. I open to your blessings. I let go of that which I have held onto more than I have trusted in you. Jai Ma Kali. And the last reading. Jai Ma Kali. I drop into the realm of deep wisdom located in the belly. I feel for your guidance, for the innate pattern of intelligent spiritual becoming that exists within my soul and knows how to manifest itself to fulfillment for the benefit of all beings. I open to your blessings. I let go of that which I have held onto more than I have trusted in you. Jai Ma Kali. And in conclusion, allow any residual tension or stress to melt away. Be in the quiet bliss of peaceful, authentic, inner divine communion. Place your hands in prayer. You have completed your ritual. Thank you. That was beautiful and reminded me again of this Leo full moon in the belly, the Manipura chakra, the sacral chakra. Super sweet, tapping in. And you may have fun digging into the chakras more, seeing what the chakra system looks like, and maybe perhaps making a card, drawing out a 3x5 card like study notes for each chakra to help you integrate that and really own that. And you also might make a card for each of the Western intelligences, I consider those chakras the Eastern intelligences, and the Western intelligences, you can look up Howard Gardner. He's an educational theorist who developed multiple intelligences, and so he showed 7 multiple intelligences, and the chakras, there's 7 main chakras, so it might be fun to see for yourself which intelligence you place with which chakra and things of that nature. And those intelligences are logical rational, visual spatial, existential, kinesthetic bodily, inter and intrapersonal, linguistic and verbal. I think I'm missing a few, so we'll have to quadruple check. I'll probably put those in the descriptions as well. Let's see. Verbal linguistic, logical rational, interpersonal intrapersonal, visual spatial, existential, body kinesthetic. Oh, musical naturalist. I think that's all 7. So moving on to the Chamunda 31. And again, there's 3 parts. So I invite you to get comfortable as we move into this next segment. Thank you so much for joining us in this session. Heartily, we are grateful. 31, Chamunda. Her unerring instinct for spiritual protection arises spontaneously, even when we do not realize we need it. Sometimes we don't realize just how far we've become entangled in that which is not good for us. We do not realize we need Callie's powerful intervention. Knowing what to allow and what to fight for or against requires wisdom. Holding the space for an inner or outer conflict to be resolved involves discipline. Chamunda is the fearlessness, wisdom, patience, and discipline needed to conquer a difficult situation. She is with you now. And so helpful and relevant, especially with the orphans and adoptees who are dismantling the fairy tales that have surrounded orphans and adoptees and building a new earth. And before we came out of the fog, when we were still thinking, oh yeah, this is for the best, it was for the best. And then realizing, wow, that no, it's not. It's just very different. And really what's happening in this social contract isn't so healthy for us. I'm putting others in front of myself. I don't even know my own heart. And so Chamunda Kali is here to help us in those situations and how to non-violently find your heart, find your peace, find your intuition, find your wisdom within, and to be able to stand in your power and your authority and do what you need to do to have a healthy and happy life. And it's just beautiful. So now the middle section. Wild Black Chamunda is a ferocious warrior goddess. She takes her name from Chanda and Munda, 2 great demons whom she defeated. Thus her name is a symbol of gaining power. Her presence indicates that you shall not only overcome an obstacle, but gain complete mastery over the energies that gave rise to it. You shall never be troubled by it again. That's huge for all of the orphans and adoptees who have been dismantling the fairy tales and taking years, a decade, decades, your whole life to do that. And that's what it takes. And you're finally getting to that place where you are overcoming it. And that is so super sweet. And you can rest in that. I am so happy for you and proud of you. You are doing it. You have done it. Swathed in blood-red light, representing her life force and power, Chamunda has multiple arms with which indicate her divine activity. The skull and crescent moon resting atop a funeral pyre from her crown, symbolizing her status as a goddess of death and karmic retribution. Yet she is protective. Her deeply socketed eyes are so intense that they are said to burn away evil in all worlds and dimensions. She provides protection from destructiveness, including gossip and other kinds of black magic, which, not unlike gossiping, uses intention, words, and action to work against another's well-being. And I'm going to pause a minute there, and I'm called to share that evil, what we have been taught to call evil, in my experience, appears to be loss and trauma that never was healed, that never had the opportunity to heal. And seeing it that way takes away a lot of the fear around that and provides compassion and understanding and forgiveness. Each time I stop to look evil, quote unquote evil, in the eyes, I see hurt in disguise, calling for the salves of unarmed truths and unconditional love, not always my turn to serve. And I had a little help from Martin Luther King Jr. with that notion, and I can leave that quote in the description as well. And that protection that protection she provides from destructiveness, including gossip and other kinds of black magic. I used to be a part of that before I understood that talking crap against people, my family, my friends, that was really hurtful, that was going out into the ethers and hurting people, that I was engaged in curses and black magic without even knowing it, because that's just what you do. You talk crap about people. I mean, come on, that's what you do, isn't it? Isn't it fun? Like, oh my. And then I learned differently, and I've been working to make amends and having forgiveness for myself, compassion for myself, understanding for myself, as well as for the others who I was taking out my grief on. I was just acting out in grief, gossiping about others. I was taking my grief out on them, sort of like kicking the dog. And I don't have to do that anymore. And in turn, when I'm feeling those psychic attacks coming in, I'm a super sensitive psychic. Many of us are studying and practicing our psychic gifts. I would say that we all are psychics and mediums, only some of us choose to study and practice for life worth living, kind of like we all are artists and teachers, but only some choose to study and practice for life worth living. But that when I'm feeling those psychic attacks coming in and I recognize, oh, somebody's talking about me, and I'm able to offer that forgiveness and compassion and understanding and love, send that unconditional love their way, and also protect myself with that unconditional love, because unconditional love is the ultimate protection, and I can feel it from my heart of hearts, and offer that to myself and offer that to anyone who perhaps is taking their grief out on me through gossiping or black magic. And perhaps you explore that as well. So back into the reading. Chamunda is referred to as queen by her soul tribe, a group of ancient mother goddesses known as the Matrikas. She is the only one worshipped independently and the only one not connected to a masculine consort. She is an independent, fierce, and unique emanation of the wild feminine power of Devi, the quote-unquote great divine goddess. She is an expression of Kali, referred to interchangeably with Kali Ma in the Puranas, ancient Hindu texts that date back more than 2,000 years. The Matrikas express a consciousness that is potentially protective and destructive depending on your actions. These beings are particularly upset by negative expressions of masculine energy. Whether expressed by a male or female human, the masculine energy can be healthy or toxic. When it is healthy, it is strong, creative, protective, and generative. When it is toxic, it is exploitative, dominating, and damaging, seeking progress at any cost. This is profoundly disruptive, and rather than the positive destructive power of Kali Ma, is the unchecked demonic destructiveness of greed. The Matrikas are fierce, and Chamunda in particular will retaliate against toxic masculinity, causing havoc in the lives of those who live by such values. And again, I'm called to share that demonicness is loss and trauma that has never had the opportunity to heal, to allow us to not fear that so much, because demons can sound pretty scary, but when we look at it with the understanding, wow, that's just loss and trauma that they never healed, you can not be so afraid of it. And maybe it's easier for you to step out of the way of it, and maybe it's easier for you to have compassion and forgiveness and understanding and send unconditional love to yourself and them, which would have the result of healing all involved, non-violently, peacefully, and joyfully. Chamunda is worshipped as the ruler of sacred erection. This is symbolic of her power over masculine energy. When the feminine has been desecrated in any way, she will not hesitate to retaliate with fierce compassion, which from our human perspective may seem like chaos. Yet the phallus is also a symbol of her honoring the potential power and creativity of healthy masculine energy, facilitating its safe development in the human psyche. Despite her inherent drama and intensity, Chamunda is beloved by the heroic heart. She assists us when we need to find the strength to overcome our psychological limitations and inertia to access, integrate, and sustain higher frequency states of being. Bringing about a permanent structural change of the psyche is hard work. It requires commitment. However, bullying ourselves into being different or applying more and more willpower only tends to create resistance, adverse reactions, and exhaustion. It is more a case of applying wisdom, finding the balance between persistence, determination, and compassionate rest and release, so we can integrate and rebuild from within. For some personality types, taking rest can require as much discipline as engaging in an activity. Learning to move between the two as appropriate takes strength and wisdom. Mastering the balance to nudge ourselves forward on a path and facilitate change, but not so much that we feel defeated even before we gain traction, is advanced inner work. Chamunda is the power to accomplish it. Her presence in a reading is a portent of a truly exceptional breakthrough on your path, the healing of masculine energy, and the protection of the sacred feminine within your heart. Thank you, Chamunda. Thank you. Heartily, we are grateful. This is so huge for all of these orphans and adoptees who have been working for years, for decades even, for your lifetime, maybe lifetimes. And you may be wondering, oh my God, really? Really? Takes this long? Yes, this is the work, and you're doing it, and you've done it, and I'm getting goosebumps. Your ancestors are so proud of you and supporting you and loving you, and Chamunda, Kali Ja, Jama Kali, me as well. Oh my God, Source as well, tapping in, just holding you and loving you, and so proud of you for doing this work and helping you find that balance, and to not berate yourself or bully yourself, to be gentle on yourself for this process and finding the balance, when to rest and when to move, and really enjoying that and playing with that. That's huge work, and you're doing it. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much for helping close out the old earth and bring in the new earth. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. Heartily, we are grateful. So the invocation ritual has a little introduction and a conclusion, and I'm going to read it 4 times. Plus there is a mantra. So I invite you to get comfortable for the last section of this reading. Here we go. Invocation ritual. Visualize, intend, or imagine that you are held within the sacred space of blackest night. A blood-red slither of a crescent moon shimmers, bringing the barest warm red glow to the otherwise inky black sky. Feel a connection to your heart. Sit comfortably so you can rest your hands at your inner thighs, the part of the body associated with Chamunda. Say this prayer. Yogini of extremity, Chamunda Kalima, I bow to your wisdom, your protection, and your love. You who are the dark mother and the queen of the wild feminine, I recognize your ferocious devotion when it arises as needed. To gain release from false structures and renewal of life force, I humbly return to the source of mother wisdom, seeking refuge in you. May I mature and develop spiritually to become a true, faithful, and effective devotee of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine in divine relationship for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. And the second reading. Yogini of extremity, Chamunda Kalima, I bow to your wisdom, your protection, and your love. You who are the dark mother and the queen of the wild feminine, I recognize your ferocious devotion when it arises as needed. To gain release from false structures and renewal of life force, I humbly return to the source of mother wisdom, seeking refuge in you. May I mature and develop spiritually to become a true, faithful, and effective devotee of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine in divine relationship for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. And the third reading. Yogini of extremity, Chamunda Kalima, I bow to your wisdom, your protection, and your love. You who are the dark mother and the queen of the wild feminine, I recognize your ferocious devotion when it arises as needed. To gain release from false structures and renewal of life force, I humbly return to the source of mother wisdom, seeking refuge in you. May I mature and develop spiritually to become a true, faithful, and effective devotee of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine in divine relationship for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. And the last reading. Yogini of extremity, Chamunda Kalima, I bow to your wisdom, your protection, and your love. You who are the dark mother and the queen of the wild feminine, I recognize your ferocious devotion when it arises as needed. To gain release from false structures and renewal of life force, I humbly return to the source of mother wisdom, seeking refuge in you. May I mature and develop spiritually to become a true, faithful, and effective devotee of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine in divine relationship for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. Now place your hands in prayer at your heart and continue by repeating the following mantra sequence as many times as feels good. It is a powerful mantra. Once may be enough. Speak it gently. Chamundaye Karle Ma Ya Ma Karle Chamundaye Kale Ma Jaima Karle Chaimundaye Karle Ma Jama Karle Chamundaye Karle Ma Jaima Karle. With reverence, bow your head to your hands in prayer at your heart. You have completed your sacred ritual. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for being here with us in this session. And I invite you to come back to this whenever you need. And I might add for the prayer that in the place where it says, may I mature and develop spiritually to become a true, faithful, and effective devotee of the sacred feminine and sacred masculine in the divine relationship for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Perhaps you alternate out the word may at the beginning of that sentence for thank you. So it ends up being thank you that I may mature and develop, as if it's already happened. And that is all I have for you in this reading. And that's all that the moon in Leo has to share with you tonight about how to move forward in your highest love and light over the next couple days, perhaps even over the next year to the next Leo full moon. And thank you so much for breathing life into adoption spirit magic with me. Heartily, we are grateful. Until next time, ciao for now. I love you all.